It's a mother's worst nightmare. Your child comes up missing and years go by without a trace. You wonder what happened and if your child is even still alive. A recent Jet magazine issue put a national spotlight on the tragedy, stating about 800,000 children under 18 are missing each year, and asks, where is the outrage? St. Louis native Theda Thomas knows the subject firsthand.
It was just like God said, I got you, I had you, I have you, throughout the whole battle.
The battle, as Theda puts it, began June 11, 2003. That was the last time her son, Christian Ferguson, was seen alive. Severely disabled and only 9 years old, Christian was strapped in a car seat while riding with his father, Dawan Ferguson. After Dawan stopped to use a payphone, he says his vehicle was stolen with Christian inside. The SUV was recovered hours later, but Christian's whereabouts remain unknown. As a mother, describe the emotion you felt when your son came up missing.
That's something that's extremely hard to actually describe. You never think that something like that is going to happen to you. But due to the fact that I had been in court and fighting for the lives of my children, I always felt that something was going to happen. I just didn't know what would happen.
How drastically did this incident change your life?
I'm doing things today that I never thought I would do today, and I think that it was derived from the strength that came from going through this battle. This was a big awakening for me. I learned things that I never thought that I would learn, though even though it's been tragic, it's been helpful at the same time.
You know, you once told me you thought it would be different if it was if this happened during the days of Dr. Martin Luther King. What did you mean by that?
What I mean is, there's a chapter in my book, the book I've been writing for a while, and it's called Becoming a Leader That I Sought. And the reason why I have that chapter in my book is because ever since the beginning, I've gone around to different local leaders, and I've just not had the support that I expected. I was a scholar athlete in high school. I played volleyball for Harris Stowe State University. It's a university now. It was a college when I was attending. And I've just done so many things in the community. Part of Matthews Dickey's Boys Club. Tried to do everything that I could to stay out of trouble and walk the straight and narrow. And I just felt that through all that I've done, that the world would just come up behind me and say, hey, we know this lady, you know. I thought that they would rally together like they did for Rosa Parks, or the way they did for Emmett Till or something, and those things just didn't happen.
What do you miss most about Christian?
I miss everything about him because he was just so bright and vibrant, you know, and sometimes in my speech I can hear him. When I cut my hair, I could see him. My mother told me stop cutting my hair. She thought it was a depression thing or something. But sometimes I guess I would do it just so I could see him through me. But I miss everything about him. You know, even though he had citrullinemia and had to have constant monitoring, and I had to weigh his food and everything, it still was like something that I just got used to. It was a necessity.
And I was just about to get to that. What exactly is citrullinemia?
It's a metabolic disorder where he lacked the enzyme that breaks down protein. So after I gave birth to him, I was saying that he was feeling kind of cold, and I think I breastfed him.
So there was an inability to break down the protein in his body, which caused him
to go into a coma. He would start acting real lethargic. Actually, as an infant, his eyes started rolling in the back of his head, and eventually he kept poking his tongue out like he was having a seizure, which they say he was. So
how did you adjust to this disease?
It was like I brought this child into this world. It's just, I'm obligated to adjust to it. I'm a mother. I didn't feel like I was ready, but a lot of times in life we are not ready for what is presented to us. So
but it was
I grew up as an athlete, you know. It's not over till it's over, and you just do what is necessary, you know. So I just felt like if God allowed that to happen, he was going to provide me with the strength and the capabilities to manage it.
Sean Hornback and Ben Ownsby, two area children that went missing but were found alive in the year of 2007. How do you feel when you see cases like that?
I feel happy for the parents and for the community, that they had closure. As a matter of fact, I think I was doing an interview the day that they were found with Channel 2, I believe. And anyway, it's a beautiful thing when someone has closure in a situation. It's tragic when you think about what the children may have gone through, and the emotional impact that will have on the rest of their lives, but it's.
Did you immediately relate that to what you were going through?
I did, but I didn't, because my situation is different. It's not like my situation it started from a custody battle.
In this time that your son has been missing, you told me earlier that you suffered severe panic attacks.
Actually, I was going through a lot of anxiety when I was with the father. There were things that were going on, and I guess my body was telling me something was wrong, and I really didn't know what my body was telling me. But it just became worse the deeper the situation became.
And you told me, quote, you said, I had to remind myself who I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt that way a lot going through court, because I was standing before a system that pretty much told me that my values did not mean anything to them. My children were not important to them. And I felt like I was living a nightmare. It was like a dream, and I had to constantly look at myself. You are Theta. You have 2 children. They are male children. I had to just tell myself certain things so that I can remind myself of what was going on, because there was so much mental anguish that was going on. And people kept saying, are you for real? This is going on to you? Well, you don't drink, and you don't abuse your children. How could he get your children? But money and power, that's what rules the world. And sometimes, even though you do the right thing or the right things, you still suffer. They don't care all the time about who's right or who's wrong.
Well, who were the people that were on your side? Who helped you through all of this? A lot of people came up to you and said some things, and I'm sure family and friends. Mm-hmm. What stands out?
What stands out, I guess the first thing that comes to my mind are the people who I didn't even know who came out to search for my son. When I couldn't stand for myself, they were standing for me. I remember receiving phone calls when they were searching for Christian, and this lady, she couldn't even walk, but she was just telling me if I could, this is what I would do. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of people who are capable and who didn't even have, the heart to pick up the phone and say, hey, this is what I would do. But just knowing that there were people who were feeling for me,
How did that make you feel?
That makes me feel good right now. That's what makes me really want to fight, because there are people who are going to go through probably the same thing that I'm going through now. There are people going through what I'm going through now. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I don't want.
That's why you started your organization as well. Tell us about that.
My organization is called Looking for an Angel Incorporated, and my mission is to increase awareness of and raise monetary rewards for missing persons. I focus more so on increasing awareness, because I need more money. So if anybody has any donations, please send them in. But I just don't want people to feel like in my situation, for example, I was married at the time when my son came up missing. So it was easier for me to not go to work, even though I needed to go to work. But it was easier for me not to go to work, because I knew I had a retired husband at home. And so since he was retired, we could probably do some things that a person who's living by themselves going through my situation, we were able to do things they probably could never do, And then even having more than that person, we still weren't able to do a lot of things. We couldn't just fly around the country all the time. And I just wanted to make the burdens of somebody going through my situation lighter.
What was the lowest point?
The lowest point was, it's a lot of lowest points. When you say lowest points, you mean the lowest point of going through my whole ordeal?
Did you ever consider suicide?
Oh yeah, plenty of times. I considered suicide going through the custody battle, because I felt like that kind of gets back to your first question, one of your first questions, because I felt like it was my fault, and I felt like my children shouldn't have to suffer because of a choice that I made. And so it was only up to me to make the situation right. But I didn't know how. How could I don't have enough money and I don't have power. That's how I felt. You know, I had God, he has power. But I knew at the same time that he may allow some things that we may not want to go through to happen. You know, even when we look at the Christian birth of Christ, you know, innocent person, crucified for us.
So without power and money, how did you keep people motivated over these nearly 10 years?
Well, that's where Christ comes in.
To continue looking and helping in this case.
And that's where my faith really came into play, because I was made to be faithful. I was made to trust God through everything. You know, if it weren't for God and him just showing himself through the coma, letting a tear come out of Christian's eye, run down his face to let me know he's got me.
Last October, Theda and her family honored Christian's 19th birthday. This age-progressed photo shows how he would look today. Theda says her quest for answers has been long and exhausting. Where did this come from where you now feel a need to help others who are going through the things that you have gone through over these years?
It basically comes from what I've gone through, just being alive to tell the story. You know, I really care about people.
Where did the idea come from to do that?
Where did that idea come from? I think it just came from my foundational belief in God. I mean, God is everything to me, you know. I'm telling you, I would not be alive today if it weren't for God being in my life. You know, my son almost died at birth. They said he would die, but he didn't.
Theda, if you never find out exactly what happened to Christian, will you be okay? Will you be able to be happy again?
Well, I can't say that I totally don't know, because like I said, I know more than a lot of people think that I know.
But you don't have any evidence to support in that?
I have evidence, like...
I'm talking about in terms of where your son is at this point.
Well, yeah, I don't know. He could be under one of the pyramid construction sites. He could be in the trash somewhere.
So I'm asking, if you never find out exactly where your son is, will you be okay?
I'm a faithful person. I will be okay. I'm getting better as we go along. So, you know, it's like so many things that I've been through and seen that I never thought I would live to even speak about. If God can get me through that, what can he get me through? You know, I guess it's just like I tried so hard to keep these things from transpiring and to know that I was screaming and nobody heard me. I don't know, I guess I feel still bothered by that. And I know I can cry and pray. I still cry about it, you know. It just, most of the time I don't have time to cry because I'm so focused on what I have to do. So I stay busy a lot so that I won't have to just constantly dwell on the pain. You know, I make my jewelry, or I sing in the band, or I do my craft in the classroom. Try to come up with a creative way to get across something in an educational fashion so that I can better the children, our children, my children.
Your last meeting with Christian, you said that you treated it like any other departing.
Like the last day that I saw him?
The last time you saw him. Do you wish you had said or done anything differently if you knew you weren't going to see him again?
I probably would not have left.
Who is Theda today as opposed to who she was 10 years ago?
Theda today is not afraid to stand for herself. You know, when I was going through the anxiety kind of situation, it was new to me. And I'm like, I'm speaking to judges and lawyers and who are these? I felt like I was going through the Wizard of Oz or something. But, you know, it's like, you know, you just have to, you know, pull yourself together. I thank God that my father was like a strong man in my life. I'm a daddy's girl. So, you know, just the strength that I was able to pull from him, and having all my coaches pretty much were men. So I was tomboy, so I was used to being, you gotta go, you gotta do it. Overcome this. I'm still afraid of heights, but we're working on that one. But just knowing that they have always pushed me when I thought I couldn't push anymore, you know, I think it helped me to learn how to push myself. Because a lot of times in this battle, it was like I had to stand for myself when nobody else believed me. I remember when I was protesting in front of the Civil Courts building, and Bob Williams, he snapped a picture of me and my ex-husband while we were passing out literature about the custody battle. That was one of the beginnings of the battle. And I think I had hypothermia because I was just standing there looking like this, but yet still, it was just like, no matter what the temperature was, I knew the issue. No matter what the pain was, I'm going to stand. And I thank God for Martin Luther King. I thank God for Angela Davis. I thank God for Malcolm X. I thank God for all of those leaders who were willing to sacrifice time with their families. Maybe they wanted to karaoke. Maybe they wanted to, not saying I didn't, but I'm just saying it was all about balance. And I've done more fighting for the positive than I have enjoying my life. But now I'm at a point where I'm able to kind of balance it a little more.
And perhaps one of the ways Theda has learned to balance her life is through her singing.
I've always been in a church choir. I grew up Catholic, and so I was always singing. My parents, they were like, hey, you're going to do something. You're going to swim? I swam. I played volleyball. I ran track, played a little baseball.
And this is one of the ways it's helped you heal, right?
Yes, because I was always occupied. Man, see, you helping me to figure out some things, too. But yes, I think it seems like to me that God never allows you to go through something that won't help you later on in your life, And
you created the organization in what, 2000?
2006. 2006. My grandmother, she just died February 24th.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And her birthday is February 23rd, and that's the date that my organization was founded in 2006. And I was just thinking about that at her service, But then, when I think about how long she lived, hey, I have to survive. I have to fight. If she can do that, if she can live that long, then can I just hang in here and, stand up and hold the banner for missing persons or anybody, Because now this is, even though I'm dealing with a missing person situation, I just love people. And I don't like injustice at all. So I just help whoever I can. I have a girlfriend, Marie Vale. She's dealing with breast cancer. I created her flyer. I didn't care about money. This is a necessity, They knew I could do it. I did it, and I'm happy that I'm able to assist her and other people who are going through whatever, because that's therapy for me. It's giving me something to do. How can I help? People helped me when I couldn't help myself. How can I help people who can't help themselves? So it just, all of this really has fueled my desire to help others. I love people. And you would think that, like sometimes people, they'll get this stereotype was like of a rape victim, for example. They may feel like, well, if they were raped by a black person, then all black people were this, or if some white person did this, then all. I don't see that, I'm not going to think that all people with money are wicked just because money and power overrule my situation. So, and that comes back to the foundation, the biblical foundation that is within me, So, that's, without that, I don't know. I don't know how people can make it. That's just a governing system in my life.
So what is your message to others who are going through this same thing?
My message is, if you don't have God, I feel for you. Get a relationship with God. I'm not going to tell you what to believe. I know what I believe. I'm a Christian. I read the Word of God. I believe in the Word of God. And in living in the perilous times that we do live in, it's essential that you have a foundational base. And like I said, I just don't see how a person can even exist. What's your purpose? What's your foundation? What is your right and wrong? If you don't have a foundation, you'll have chaos. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're having a lot of issues in our society. As an educator, I teach my students, hey, like, for example, I gave them this situation. What if the streets didn't have stop signs? Some people were happy, I can do this, I can do it. Well, you can also lose a loved one, because somebody cut them off or something tragic happened. So once I got a chance to kind of get them to see the other side, then it helped them to think about others more, more instead of just thinking about how they would feel or how they could just benefit. So, you know, and I think that's what you learn going through a lot of trials and tribulations. You get a chance to taste what other people have experienced, you know, or since you experienced it, you know.
And your message to Christian, wherever he is?
I love you, I miss you, and I'm sorry.
Theda Thomas says she will never stop looking for answers in the disappearance of her son, Christian. In the meantime, she hopes to grow her organization, Looking for an Angel, through volunteers and donations from around the country. For more information on that, please call 314-440-3422.